The word I'm looking for. Pick one. Carry on, Wayward Son by TinyButFierce. Chapter 1. In a small room at the UN headquarters in New York, a group of people sat on other sides of a long table. One spy, one super soldier, one flyer, and one magic user sat across from a UN official, the operator of the war machine armor, and one genius. The only person to speak for a long time was the UN official, outlining the terms for the former fugitive's house arrest and responsibilities. The genius stared out the window at the river, and the former fugitives took cursory glances at him. The UN worker continued to speak. Your rooms at the compound have been prepared for you to return, as long as you sign the accords and agree to the terms listed within the document. As you know, your two teammates, Clint Barton and Scott Lang, signed similar documents and are with their families at the present moment. As none of you have families to be under house arrest with, the compound will function as your location at this time. Steve spoke up. We'd all be happy to go home, isn't that right, Tony? The genius snorted and looked at the super soldier. I wasn't the one who took your home. You did that yourself. Steve continued. It's our home. You live there too. Rhodey stifled a laugh, and Tony grinned. Oh, I don't live there. I'm nice and comfortable at Stark Tower. We decided not to sell. Natasha narrowed her eyes. If you're not going to live with us, why are you and Rhodes here? Oh, the UN forced me to be here. They wanted someone who could keep you under control. And Rhodes? He was bored and wanted some entertainment. The UN official cleared her throat. If we could get back to the matter at hand. All of the others calmed down and went back to resolutely ignoring each other, preferring to scan their eyes over paper than create another argument. Pony and Rhodey spoke to each other quietly, too low to pick up. The others tapped their pens on the table and sighed, wishing that they didn't have to read complicated legal documents. Steve pushed back his chair slowly and looked up at the four on the other side of the room. They all looked back. The super soldier put down his pen. It says here that equipment will be provided by the UN, and we have to arrange expenses for that ourselves. The official responded. That would be correct. All of you will have a UN liaison to help with such things as equipment and other expenses. Wanda scoffed. Expenses? Shouldn't Stark be paying for this stuff? Tony laughed, and the UN official continued. Dr. Stark is under no contract to provide you with equipment or funds. The UN is your contact for such things, not Dr. Stark. You are not his responsibility. Steve stood up and placed both his hands on the table, ready to start a verbal battle, until suddenly, out of nowhere, the phone started to ring. Carry on, Wayward Son blasted out of Tony's phone that was sitting on the table. Everyone turned to look at him as he picked up the phone and prepared to answer it. Steve interrupted. I'm positive that nothing could be more important than what is happening right now. Rhodey chuckled. I can guarantee you that the person on the other end of that line is more important. Tony grinned back at Rhodey and picked up the phone. Everyone watched in silence as the genius smiled while listening to whomever was on the other side. Hey, kid. Yeah, no, you're not interrupting anything. Yeah? All right. I can pick you up today. Do you have academic decathlon tonight? Okay, I can pick you up in 30 minutes if that would work for you. That works? Great. You want to work in the labs tonight? I've got my hands on some things that I think you would like. All right, see you soon. Tony put the phone in his pocket and stood up to leave. Steve glared at him and walked to the door, standing in front of it and stopping Tony from leaving. The genius paused in front of him and raised an eyebrow. You might want to get out of the way, Rogers. I need to get to Queens in half an hour, and New York traffic is busy this time of day. The super soldier continued to stand in front of the door. You're always late to everything. I don't see why you can't be late to wherever you're going. Besides, who called you anyways? Tony narrowed his eyes and levelled his gaze at the super soldier. 1. I would never purposefully be late for the person I have to pick up soon. 2. His identity is none of your business. I think it should be my business. You're always up for something when you become secretive. You always think the worst of things, don't you? Well, listen to this. The person I have to go get means more to me than any of you. He means more to me than these peace talks right now. I would protect him no matter what happened, and you will not stand in my way. I'm going to ask you one more time to get out of my way before I am forced to make you. The UN would never let you do that. Tony turned to look at the UN official who calmly watched the proceedings. She raised an eyebrow at him and levelled her gaze at the super soldier. You have not signed the accords as of now, and technically this interaction would count as a threat towards Dr. Stark's being in a court of law. Tony grinned at the super soldier. The UN is behind me, and I'm sure that you wouldn't want to go to jail now that you're so close to being home. Roger glared and stepped back from the door. Tony opened it, but paused to look back at the room. Ms. Jones, Rhodey, I'm sure you two can handle it from here. The two nodded at him, and the genius walked out the door. As it closed, the UN official turned back to look at the former fugitives with a smile. Shall we continue?